Do not let your loctician tell you what is best for your hair when your intuition says different and when your common sense says something totally different. Get your Unsi and Bahur rocks today from IamMelaninMagic.com. I am Melanin Magic, and so are you. Experience the I Am Melanin Magic difference by going to our website, www.IamMelaninMagic.com. Welcome to Tunisia's Locs, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri, the channel where we get it all in. You can also learn more about the I Am Melanin Magic brand. Thank you for stopping by. Welcome to the channel. You are with Tunisia Ali. I hope that you are feeling peaceful, productive, prosperous. I hope that you are living in your passion and that you are feeling that life has a special purpose for you and that you're also giving your life purpose. Today, I want to talk very briefly about bad retightenings or problems with retightenings or problems with your journey in general. I want to first give a shout out to Miss Betty. Miss Betty, it was wonderful talking to you today. Miss Betty is a client. She's purchased a few times on I Am Melanin Magic, and I was returning some communication with her this morning and we got into some dialogue. And before I jump into some of the things that we talked about, I want to give Miss Betty a shout out. She is 79. Beautiful, beautiful sister, lovely, lovely spirit. And Miss Betty, when asked what is the secret to health and longevity, she said she has an apple a day, and she's been doing that for many, many years. And so we talked for a while, and I decided I'm getting ready to go out and get me some organic gala apples. And I too am going to join the Betty Apple bandwagon. Yes! Woo! But Miss Betty's a wonderful, wonderful lady. And we were talking today, and it got me to thinking about some things that we need to begin to pay more attention to. You hear me talk about it all the time. I can't talk about it enough, and I'm going to continue to talk about it as all of us strive to raise awareness. As a side note, on the 25th of March this month, okay, at 6 o'clock, the Zoom retightening session where many of us are going to be on there talking about retightening, the necessity of knowing how to do it, and giving you some tips if you're feeling a little timid, and also just sharing among those of you who have become self-retightening experts. So please look in the comment section. I'm going to pin the link for that day. It's going to be a first come, first serve. I think my membership allows under 100, but I don't know the exact number. So first come, first serve for that session. So make sure you keep that link handy, or keep that link to that video handy, so you can always go in the comment section and take a look, all right? Thanks to all of you all for supporting the channel. I want you to take a moment now and go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. If you come and you find the information valuable here on this channel, and you find some utility in some of the things that I say, please, I ask you to get in the habit of giving the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, and definitely comment. I get a lot out of you all's comments. I'm always reading the comments. I respond to them when I can, but I keep a pulse on what's going on in the comments. The comments help to direct the direction of the channel. They help to determine some of the direction of the channel, and I do take your feedback under advisement. Sending out lots of love to all of you already who are out there in the comments, and many of you who have been out there in the comments, out there in I Am Melanin Magic, subsequent order, one after the other, consecutive, and are finding value in the products. I really appreciate all of you. Okay, so first and foremost, when your hair is already thinning and you decide that you want to get Sisterlocks, I don't want you to look at Sisterlocks as a rescue, all right? Because while you are doing something that can help provide some corrective action, if you're not careful, then the very thing that you're looking to, which is the hairstyle, to relieve you of some of the issues you've been dealing with, can actually worsen and exacerbate problems that you may already have. If your hair is already thinning, my suggestion is to do what you can do in the interim before making the decision to get your install to get your hair healthy. Okay, that is going to mean taking your supplements. It's going to mean putting high quality products in your hair that provide nutritional support, that help your hair be more resilient, that help it to rebound, all of that kind of stuff. Taking the pressure off of your hair. If you're moving from a style that has thinned your hair, that had, say for example, were locks, some other type of locks, and you're transitioning to a different kind of locks, you need to build the capacity of your hair. You need to strengthen your hair before doing that. When you are already having issues with hair that is thinning, and you're going to Sisterlocks, you're moving to an install, or you're already having issues with thinning and you're continuing your retightenings, you have to understand one of the most important things that I tell every single person that I speak with, that I talk about on this channel all the time, and that is, number one, your number one public enemy are those retightenings. I don't care what someone else tells you. I don't care what the person who lacks the ability to be impartial, because they are the ones that are doing the retightenings and are not doing the retightenings in a way that's protecting the hairstyle, that's really protecting the brand, if you want to say, and protecting your sense of self-esteem if you start dealing with issues. Everything, your ability to be intact with this hairstyle, the way that you feel good about it, the relationship between our hair and our sense of how we feel good about ourselves, our confidence, all of that is tied to and in the hands of the person that is spending the most time doing your hair. And unless you're dealing with someone who's willing to take a hard, fast look at what those retightening rituals can create in terms of the adverse effects, then you're going to be dealing with someone who's going to be pushing the responsibility off on something else. I want you to use your common sense. This is for everyone when it comes to this issue. Understand that repeated stress on your hair when you're already having problems is going to only produce worse problems. It's going to produce an exacerbation of what you're already dealing with. Understand that I'm talking about repeated stress. That was in the aforementioned comment, but understand that repeated trauma is going to lead to one end, and one end only, and that's going to be total hair loss. And when I say total hair loss, I mean the loss of locks. Systemic hair loss is what I'm talking about when I speak to hair loss throughout your hair. Now, if you know that you're dealing with issues related to medication, if you know that your mom and the women on a certain side of your family have had hair loss at a certain point, that's a different story if you're already coming to the equation with some issues. But there are a lot of things that we can do to mitigate hair loss in general. There's some things that we can't impact as much. Oftentimes, there's a multitude of different things that we have to do to try to arrest hair loss. And the most common, to me, sense thing and the most logical thing that you absolutely have to do is to remove the trigger. You have to remove the precipitating event that is leading to the hair loss or that is worsening the hair loss. For some of you, it may mean cutting the length of your hair. For others of you, it may mean taking a break from your retightenings. For some of you, it may mean taking them out altogether, getting your hair healthy, making sure that you can still regrow hair and starting all over again. For others of you, it means walking away from your loctician, especially if your loctician is someone who cannot seem to, no matter what, retighten your hair in a way that it doesn't hurt, in a way that it is not too tight, in a way that doesn't make you cry, and in a way that doesn't leave you listening to her recommend that you need to put oil on your hair and take something for the pain. Okay, every blue moon, maybe, until you get the hang of this and until you realize that that's not the way it's supposed to be. But above and beyond that, that's not something that is okay. That's a no-no. You cannot go for that. In my conversations, what I'm hearing on all fronts, on a lot of fronts, all the time, because when people contact me, it's related to some challenge that they're dealing with. And I tell you this, I don't like to give one-to-one personal advice. I don't do that. I refrain from doing that. I don't do that in 9 out of 10 situations. I'll talk about it on my channel, and I'm going to encourage you to watch the videos on my channel. I have 2 of the latest videos within the last few months where I talk about 21 things that you can do when your hair is thinning and 21 things that are causing your hair to thin. I want you to watch those videos. These videos are for everyone. Heck, they're for me, even though it looks like I have a head full of hair. I've been at this for some time. I've experienced a lot of different things in this lock journey, and it's my job for myself to try and head off or to try and reduce the number of variables that can actually result in me no longer being able to have this style. And the same is true for you, because the longer you've been in this journey, the greater the likelihood, and this is not, I'm not making an absolute statement, but the greater the likelihood you're going to experience some of these things at one time or another. So having locticians who may say to you in the midst of your hair coming out, in the midst of your hair thinning, that you don't need to put any oil in your hair. That is the most nonsense thing I've ever heard. It doesn't make sense, and anybody who is telling you that is totally irresponsible, unless and until they're giving you another alternative that is going to help you in the same way. This is my crazy dog. Hold on. Pardon the interruption. Here is a consultant, and she's watching thinning going on. It doesn't seem to be impacting the rate at which she's doing the retightening, the amount of tension that she's using in the retightening. She's watching this happen, and this person is still continuing to move in a way that communicates business as usual. Okay, also recommending no oil on the hair. Okay, well, let's talk about what oil does, or let's talk about what supplementing your hair care routine with quality ingredients can do when you're in a situation and your hair is crying out for help and you're continuing to do the very thing that is harming your hair. We're all in that boat, because once you start to experience some level of hair loss or some level of problem, it doesn't stop you from going in to get your retightenings, because we're almost to some degree enslaved to the style. But we don't have to be enslaved to that loctician or to that person who fails to understand that it's time to take a different approach, and that your problem is not a hormonal problem, or that your problem is not related to pattern hair loss, but that it's related to a specific type of alopecia that is only worsened when the stress on the hair continues and continues and continues until eventually you have a proliferation of dead follicles and you find yourself in a situation where your hair can't bounce back. There are a lot of things that many of you are dealing with in your retightenings that simply do not make sense. And you know they don't make sense, and it doesn't sit well with you. The divine has given you the spirit of discernment and has given you the inner technology to understand when something doesn't feel right. When something doesn't feel right, there's a reason. When something doesn't sound right to you or it doesn't sit right, it means it's time to look further into something. It's time to look around a particular obstacle. And in some cases, it's time to find another person to care for your hair. Hence, one of the reasons why many of us are becoming more skilled at doing our own retightenings. You cannot continue to go and sit in the chair of someone that you have trusted your entire Sisterlock or Microlock journey to, and leave that chair in pain, feeling as though you haven't been heard, and then seeing the fallout. Additionally, we have discussed this use of the scissors. All right, now, I told you all what happened with that lady using the scissors on my hair and making. I went to her one time, and that was the end of that, because she married 6 locks. She was using some scissors, and when I spoke to Ifraj about that, that was not Ifraj's. She didn't understand that. Number one, she didn't understand why the lady would be using scissors on my hair, because she says that I'm one of her easiest clients. My hair is never tangled, and the reason why it's not, you guys know, because I talk about it in all my videos. The other thing is, when someone is using scissors repeatedly, unless they got a microscope, and this is where the logic comes in, unless they got a microscope and they can actually see where in the length of that hair they're cutting and what part belongs over here and what part belongs over there, instead of just cutting in the middle, you don't know what they're cutting. And they don't know what they're cutting, but you will see the long-term impacts of them cutting that hair as you continue down the journey and your locks start to thin. The other rebut to the cutting is, if you notice, when your hair is healthy, it has some pliability to it. It shouldn't just pop and it shouldn't just snap. When my locks get entangled, I am able, pardon me, I'm looking at that mosquito that I just got to get. Your hair shouldn't just snap. It has some level of pliability, and if you're very gentle you can take a piece of hair and you can pull it to where it will eventually stretch its way out. It will give like this and it won't snap. Okay, you just have to take your time when doing it. For some people, it works better when your hair is wet. For others, you have a 50% in the camp that says do it when it's dry. You got to find what works best for you. But I've had many an occasion where I was able to disconnect the hairs, and one that might have been stuck or two that may have been stuck, gently continue to pull them and watch and feel that hair stretch some until it finally slid out and went to the other side. If you can't do that with every one of them, it still doesn't justify resorting to allowing someone to use scissors at every session when they're doing your hair. I would be very concerned about the long-term effects, because oftentimes by the time you start seeing the fallout from these dysfunctional ways of maintaining your locks, this person is long gone, or either they're unwilling to accept responsibility for it, or you have already kicked them to the curb. This is something that is very, very, very important. You have to participate in your own rescue. You have to be an active participant in your journey. You cannot be a passive bystander or a spectator. It is worth continuing the search to find someone who is in a better condition to help you according to what you feel is important than staying with someone who could ultimately bring your hair care journey to a halt, or ultimately traumatize your hair so much that you have trouble with it growing back in certain spots. Many of you have talked to me about having gotten injections, and the pain, the sheer pain of these injections that are trying to arrest a situation that so many of us have because of the hairstyles that just won't quit. So if the hairstyle doesn't quit and the person doesn't quit, then you have to quit. I hope that you find something valuable in this video. Don't forget, on March the 25th at 6 p.m., we will be in Zoom sharing some feedback and sharing some of our finds, some of our hair hacks, and some of our hair tips with regard to reties. If it's something you want to comment on to share, we don't have a particular format. We want to hear from everyone. We'll be on for an hour and a half. First come, first serve in terms of getting in, because I do believe that there is a limit. I love you all. I appreciate you for showing up for the channel. Please, 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 let's continue educating the people who we are entrusting our hair to. Tantalizing, enticing, luxurious, and magnetic, Tunisia's aromatic Unsi and Bahor will entice you to find solace in each precious moment. Delight and enchant with your magic. Aromatize your intimate settings, enhance your clarity, cleanse the air, purify your room of bacteria and stagnant energy, or lift your mood. Relax away the day's stress and create a spiritual ritual. You can also use Unsi to clear negative energy like you would with white sage or Palo Santo. Raise the vibe and lift your spirits. Feed your soul, create a luxurious bath, enhance the romance, and so much more. It's time for you to burn some Unsi. Unsi is an aromatic fragrance solid that comes in small nugget-like rocks. Some are harder than others, but usually you can modify the size to your liking with a spoon or by breaking the pieces apart. It's been around since ancient times and was known to be used in many spiritual ceremonies to provide fragrance to the body and spaces, as an aphrodisiac in many medicinal practices, and to provide relief from stress and anxiety. All the aromatics and ingredients are natural and have their own separate and diverse health benefits. Unsi is made from the holy resin frankincense, which Somalia is known for across the world. The most notable trees originate in a part of Somalia called Puntland. This floral essence is so concentrated that the smell lingers in a room long after the Unsi has been burned and put away. Secret recipes within families have been passed down through generations and guarded. Each woman making Unsi has her own style and quality.
Although the classical characteristics of Unzi are common to all regardless of origin. Unzi has so many therapeutic qualities. True to its name as aromatherapy, it can boast over 20 authentic ingredients, including resins, sandalwood, oud chips, anyacha, tonka beans, frankincense, myrrh, concentrated perfume oils, and various other natural essences and spices and more. You may burn it fast to quickly eradicate negativity or odors and bacteria in your living space, or you may allow it to simmer using a potpourri pot and a tea light candle. Some also use electric burners with foil to slowly release Unzi. I've even added it to hot water in a potpourri warmer and allowed the aroma to be gently released. Find the method that best works for you.
Hey ladies, do you love the way your skin looks and feels? I know I do, because I am using the I Am Melanin Magic Anti-Aging Serum, and at 50, I love the way my skin looks and feels. This blend is bomb. It renews, revitalizes, rejuvenates, soothes, conditions, moisturizes, tones, brightens, and fades all in one step. So if you're ready to get your glow on, go get you some I Am Melanin Magic Anti-Aging Serum.